Radio. You're locked into the day party with yours truly, KierraM, on this good old music Monday, motivational Monday, and male crush Monday. And I got KEKEPALMER in the building.
Hey, what's up, girl? First of all, I'm loving this hat.
Oh, you like it? You like it, girl? Love God.
I
Yes.
love faith walking.
I need some Jesus.
That's it right there. Yes, I'm feeling it.
How are you feeling today?
I'm good. You know, it's the holiday season, so you can't really be in much of a bad mood, you know.
Now listen, I had the chance to watch Pimp and Kiki.
You watched
Listen, let me tell you something. You had me in my bed feeling some type of way. I was angry. I was crying. I was like, what is going on?
You know,
it's
this
super
is all,
lit.
even though you were emotional, and you know, you probably needed that release. You probably didn't even know. But I'm so glad that the movie touched you in any way at all. Like, that means so much. I think that's the goal when you do a film and anything, or whatever you do creative and you give out to the world. You want them to feel something.
Yeah, I was feeling some type of way. My daughter came in the room. I was like, "God, you gotta go. You gotta go. You can't even watch this. You gotta go." But you called this your passion project. Talk about why you called it your passion project.
Because it wasn't easy to get made. You know what I mean? And it definitely wasn't an easy topic that I think people would immediately understand. You know, maybe visually seeing it now, people can get it. But when we would first say, "Oh, it's a movie about a pimp," you know, a female pimp. There's also a lesbian love story. People are kind of like, "What?" You know what I mean? So for me, when I read the script, I mean, I love art and I love bringing characters to life, especially characters we don't get to see really brought to life in humanizing ways. You know what I'm saying? So when I read it, I immediately knew, like, okay, this will be a challenge. This will be challenging for me.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'm down for the challenge to do. You know what I mean? I love the character. I like a lot of the messages and the themes. I feel like people can relate to them, even if their mom and dad aren't, you know, pimps and prostitutes. Everybody's family has generational curses and things you're trying to overcome to make better for the next generation.
Absolutely.
And find a better life, and you know what I mean. So I don't know. That's why I think it was my passion project.
And this is your first feature film that you actually produced.
Yes.
Let's not forget about
It's
that.
very true. Thank you
Super
very much.
duper dope.
Thank you.
Tribeca Film Festival. Talk about that experience. Talk about having your parents there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was embarrassing having my parents there for my love scenes. But other than that, you know, I wouldn't have had it any other way, because my mom was a major part of also, you know, making sure this vehicle got made. You know, we were major parts in the footage that we shot and just things we did to make sure everything was going as good as it could, and we were doing everything we could so we can get that green light. So to finally be there on that day, and then we had the other premiere with Lee Daniels there in LA. It was just like, it was the best. You know what I mean? Because it's like, wow, Lee's here and he supports the film, and he has such a beautiful vision, and he saw it right from the start. Christine Crocus, the director and the writer, she always believed. So it was good for us to all get to that point, because we all believed in the film, and then finally it was here.
But they didn't believe in you at the beginning, Kiki.
No.
You got to talk about that too. They didn't think that you could do this. You could play this role.
And I was ready for that challenge, because it's not the first time. I think people always assume that you're going to always get a yes every time, or even when you get a no, that means you should stop. You can politely, you know, try and give your last ditch effort. And so with this particular movie, like you said, they didn't really see me meeting the audition. They didn't really kind of get that this would be something that I could do. So my mom and I, we came up with the idea of going back to Chicago, my old neighborhood, and going to my aunt's beauty salon and filming with some of her friends and some of the people that come by the shop, and kind of creating like a documentary style audition tape for a pimp as me in the character.
Well, that's right, sis.
Honey, yes.
Go ahead and do that.
And so I sent it in, and not only did they give me the part, but that also was a major part of what helped us to get the movie made, because people were able to see the vision. They were able to get some type of visual of what this movie was about and what it was going to look like.
Now, when I think about KEKEPALMER, I think about you rolling down my timeline talking about the gag and all the, you know, just fun stuff. So talk about transforming into this character. Because listen, you killed it, Kiki.
Thank you very much. Like, you know, the funny thing about it is the gag was actually born during the filming of like my version of the gag was born on that set, because there was the wardrobe stylist Rainey that kept saying every day, she was like, yeah, that's the gag, honey. Like every time that something would happen, like I'd be like, and he really was doing blah blah blah. She said, that's the gag, honey. And I'm like, why? What is it she keeps saying that's the gag? You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, you know what? I'm just, it's a part of my dialogue now. That's the gag. And then it became, you know, what it was right then. But you know, I just lost my train of thought. I'm over here talking about the gag is transforming. Anyway, so yeah, like I said,
what research did you do too to kind of get into that headspace?
I think it was a lot of looking, right? A lot of looking what was around me in the music industry. The music industry and the pimp industry aren't that different. But a lot of the characters, you know what I'm saying, kind of picking bits and pieces off of things that I feel like, oh, you know what, I think that's interesting. What if I added that nuance to Wednesday? Or, you know what I mean? Also studying the script and also even looking at myself and seeing what things I can amplify. I have a lot of masculine energy in myself. And I was like, how much do I want to give to Wednesday? How much femininity? How much vulnerability? And just kind of playing around with it. And then also, it took 3 years to get made. So in those 3 years, I really do believe that I made I had a lot of growth that happened to me that allowed me to understand the character on a deeper level that I was able to apply once we started filming.
You know what? I was surprised though. I was like, why isn't this in theaters? How good?
Yeah, thank you.
Why isn't it
Thank
in
you so
theaters?
much.
You know, and a lot of your fans, because even when I posted about it, a lot of your fans was like, you know,
yes.
Why isn't it in the theaters?
And I know it's so hard to really explain because, you know, it's kind of the industry thing, which is sometimes movies are independent and sometimes movies are big budget. And a lot of times it can be the creator's choice to decide to be smaller, because if you keep it independent, you kind of have more control. And I think with our director, this project is such a near and dear project to her. So to let it go to a big studio, even though it would get maybe that major promotion that people would have wanted for it to get, it puts it also in a different place maybe for her. And so it's really a personal choice how people decide to do their friends. Me, of course, I would have been cool if it was on Netflix, because what's most important to me is just that my fans get to see it. But of course, out of respect for the writer, this is the lane she wanted to go in, and I support her 100%. It's indie. We were in some selected theaters in LA and in New York, but now it's available on all digital platforms except for Netflix. You know, it's available everywhere else: iTunes, Google Play, Amazon. It'll be available on Dish and DirecTV January 9th. But you can get it right now on Time Warner. You can get it on Cox.
That's where I got mine.
Google Play. Exactly.
It's exciting.
It's exciting.
It's exciting, but you know, because you had to dive so deep into this role, it kind of took away from everything else that you had to go. Because you kind of fell off the grid. I was like, where is Keke?
And a lot of people was like, why is Keke
videos?
And a lot of people were like, why is Keke going around looking like Quavo? A lot of people were literally telling me that I was dying on the floor, because I'm like, you know, but him being kind of a smaller, cool type of dude, I did looking like, okay, this would be some good elements that I could take for Wednesday that would totally match up, that it would be believable, because we were damn near the same body type. You know what I mean? But it was so funny because everybody was like, why is she looking at me? I'm like, little do y'all know I'm getting this part ready for y'all, you know. But it's true. That happens with me when I do my acting roles. My music and everything gets kind of pushed to the side, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully I'm really excited at the opportunity to get on tour next year. So
that's exciting. You
know, maybe I can let acting get on the quiet end for a second, just so I can put more energy into that. But really how I do it is just like whatever God brings to me. If he brings me a film or a TV show that ends up taking the time, then that's what it is. If I'm chilling, I'm able to really put effort into my musical projects, that's what it is. And so I try to balance it all, but at the end of the day, whatever God brings to me and puts in the forefront, that's what I go with.
Absolutely. And I saw that you said that, you know, the acting is something that you do, but music allows you to be so creative. So I'm like, I wonder how she feels not being able to be her creative self for all of these months. And talk about the album. What's going on with the album, Keke?
So the album is completed and finished. I'm feeling some new, getting some new visuals at the top of the year. Dropping the album at the top of the year in January. You can't expect it. I know people be like, oh my gosh, Keke, you take so long. But the reality is I am doing so many different things. And so I have to make sure and time them out in the way that I can actually tend to them, because I was also in Budapest for 5 months filming a TV show, and like you said, how is that when you're doing a project and you have to be away from your music? It's very frustrating. It is very frustrating, because I want to be able to feed my audience, and I also want to be able to perform. I think that's the major thing when it comes to me and my music, is having been able to have the time to actually perform and go see my fans in all these different states and stuff like that. That really does suck. And so I think that's something that I'm really specifically looking into next year. Is like, I really want touring and going and doing shows to be a major part of where I spend my time. And really that's what it is. It's about putting the time in. But like I said, sometimes a movie will come up or a TV show will come up, and I'm like, how do I balance this? But I guess that's what it is, being Keke.
Yeah, and what about production? You want to do more?
Yes, I would love to do more of that. I have some stuff in the works that I can't say just yet, but you know, I show people little bits and pieces on my Instagram and everything like that. But that is a major part of how I show producing and creating.
Big Boss Entertainment.
Come on, baby.
Right?
Yes, Big Boss. So I got Southern Bells. You know, I've got a lot of different ideas. I did That's the Gag on my YouTube channel, and I'm always building out from there and finding different ways that I can reach my fans, and also seeing what they are responding to.
Yeah.
I love how they feel about my comedy, because I love doing comedy as well. Pimp is, of course, a serious film, but comedy is also just as much as I'm comedy, music. You might see me do stand-up one day.
When I see you do the gag, I think about, you remember that Ashton Kutcher show? What is that show? Punk'd, right?
Yeah.
I see you doing like a freaking
girl,
show like that. Wouldn't that be super cool?
Totally
Wouldn't that be dope?
A show like that. I love that you brought that up, because I could make my own. Ooh, that could be called the gag is. Yes.
Just make sure you give my credits a little bit.
Yeah. Girl, I love that.
I like it. Yeah.
I love
when I see you
what
do that,
you
I
just
think
said.
about him all the time when I see you do that. I think it would be super dope and amazing. Look.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Because I can come out the end and be like, the gag, yes. It was all, oh my gosh, that is so dope. Right? I love that. Yeah. See,
but
see
give me a little bit of credit.
See, I never put that on my Instagram. She would have never known to come up with that idea. And that's why you got to just not be afraid to put your stuff out. I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter if you're a traditional talent or if you're new coming in the industry. Social media is a wonderful tool to use to really get close to your fans and know how to reach them. Like, when you see Will realizing it and putting his time in, it really is. And I know for a lot of people it seems different, and they're like, oh, this is weird, or I don't really know, but it's worth it for me. You know what I mean? Of course, I go hard for the millennial diva, but it's really been able to help me to really be my own creator and rule my own career. So many opportunities came from stuff that I just decided to create on my own page. And it's very empowering for young talent. So
absolutely. You know, one thing you said about your music, just to stick on your music for a second, is that you felt like you were being taken advantage of, you know, when you were younger by the different companies. So talk about that.
I think corporate, again, this is going to what I'm talking about, even with different decisions you make as a filmmaker or, you know, also as an artist. There is independent and there is corporate. And with corporate, a lot of times they get a lot more, but they give a lot more in terms of maybe popularity. So maybe there's, you can see that there's more, you might get more promotion, or you might get more this or that, but you may not get as much of what you put into it financially. Or, you know, I put it like this. You have to decide what's more important to you. Is it important to be successful, or is it important to be famous? And I think a lot of times when it comes to corporate, that's all that they can offer you, is that fame aspect. But the success you can get on your own without all the hoopla, without all the you need a #1 song. You can tour all around the world and have your group of fans, and that's a successful career, and only do festivals and still be a wonderful artist. And I think a lot of times when artists go to labels, the labels end up putting them in this frame of mind that they're not successful unless they have these many billboards or this many things, or, you know, if they don't get fully into this contract, then they're not going to promote them enough. They're not going to let their producers write their songs, and they're not going to be, you know, then there's a political issue. And it's just a lot of stuff. And I think as a kid, I was seeing a lot of that, and it stifled me creatively. But I think it happens to a lot of artists. I think that's why we're in the era we're in now, where we have stuff like streaming, to where people can really get their music out there, and people can find them without all the politics. And I'm not saying, because politics is everywhere, right? You know what I mean? I'm not bashing that, because people can make it work for them. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I will say streaming, all that stuff has given young people an opportunity to see that you can do stuff your own way. And again, do you want to be successful, or do you want to be famous? Because you can have a wonderful music career and never have won a Grammy and never have performed on the VMAs. You know, it's about what's important to you. And I realized what was important to me is just to be with my fans. I never really cared about that stuff growing up, you know, but the labels can sometimes equate you and your talent to that. And as a little kid, that's hard to decipher. So it pushed me away from music for a long time, till I was about, I think, 18, and I started working with R. Kelly. R. Kelly was really a big help towards me in that time of my life. I remember I had said something about Black Panties album. I really loved it. I'm a huge R&B head. R. Kelly is the best. And he said, you know, nobody ever says anything positive about me. He literally called my agency. He said, nobody says anything positive about me. I heard what you said about me, and I would love to do music with you, just off that. And he said, and I heard you from Chicago. And I said, I am. So I flew down to Atlanta. We started working on music, and that really opened my eyes back up to why I did it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's somebody here that's been around in the game. He wrote songs for B2K, Michael Jackson. You
know, they having this whole battle, the R&B or King
right now. He is R&B King. Come on. I love me some Jacquees, but I mean, the reality is I love Chris Brown too. I love Tank. I love all of them. But the real R&B King
was R. Kelly.
I don't see nothing
Okay.
wrong. No, he's a real R&B king. He's a legend. And so that's really what that's what really rebirthed my love for music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now talk about, the most challenging, how can I put this? What was the most challenging part about playing Wednesday in that film?
The most challenging part was just being in that character. I mean, me with any project, especially when it's an emotional project, if it's something that's very kind of light, I'm doing something like when I did Scream for MTV, that was chill, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to go to too many deep places. But if I'm in an emotional drama type of project, I naturally kind of keep some of those undertones within me. It's just what I naturally do as an actor because I'm preparing for that scene or I'm preparing for that climax for that character. And so it's kind of like this character is living under me while I'm still living. And that's really can be heavy when you're playing a character like Wednesday.
Especially, as a woman yourself and controlling other women. That's why I asked that.
Controlling other women and then also, being challenged. Like there's that one scene where it's like, it was so, I can't even explain the dynamics that was happening, but for her to be face to face with, I don't want to tell anybody the movie, but for her to be face to face in this moment with another pimp, a male pimp, and them decide to try to the level in which they try to humiliate her, like things like that, and understanding those dynamics and feeling that and being that character. And emotionally, I'm naturally a very empathetic person, so I think that's why I also love acting and stuff like that, because I can feel people's feelings. And Wednesday was a real character to me, so to carry around her weight like that, it was just very weighing on me.
And sometimes when you have to get so deep into these characters, it kind of drive you crazy.
Yeah, I think people don't also realize as an actor, you are an emotional daredevil because your feelings don't know that you're playing around. I remember when my grandmother passed, I had spent so many times in so many of my earlier films crying about my grandmother dying that when she died, it was like I could barely even cry because I had already used up that emotion so much of that trauma of my grandma's gone, crying for this part.
You know what you said a while ago too, like when you're a child star, you learn how to manipulate your emotions.
Yeah, and it can be very powerful, it can be very dangerous. It depends on how you choose. And I'm telling you, God plays a big part, and I feel like, wow, I'm cool. But it's like, I talk about that a lot in my book, I Don't Belong to You. Acting really let me know how fragile identity is. And I think in the best way, you can really make yourself be anything you want to be. It's just like this quote. I have this quote on my arm that says, you are what you repeatedly do. Excellence is then not an act, but a habit. And so it's really like in life, you can really be anything you want to be. I know because I can turn into any character and really make you believe that just because I wholeheartedly believe and do and think like this character. So I know in life, whoever you want to be the funniest person in the world, just do some funny stuff every day. Make that a part of your life. You want to be the best dancer, dance every day. Do a dance video a day. Whatever it is you're trying to do. So I try to think of it in a positive sense. You know what I mean? And that's just who I am. So when I think about how fragile and how much I manipulated my emotions as a child, I try not to look at it in a way of like, oh, that was crazy and that was scary. I look at it objectively and say, what a cool thing that I was able to learn how to control myself at such a young age and be able to know my triggers, so other people can't trigger me, and I can only be in control of my emotions, and I know what to pull out of what I need to pull out of me at this moment in this time. It's a really good feeling. I remember just recently I had a scene on Star, and it was like an emotional scene, and as I got older, I really started being very happy at the fact that I knew how to pull that out of myself without having to think about the traumatic things like a parent dying or grandmother dying. And that could have come with age, right? Because I experienced more, therefore I have more to draw from. But I think what it was is that I've really gotten to a place where I really understand my emotions so much that it becomes...
Yeah, is that why you sit on a lot of panels? So you sit on a lot of mental health panels.
Yes, mental health is so
huge, which is super important. Is that why though? Is that one of the reasons why?
I think yes, because I went through so much as a kid with just the kind of career that I had, being a child entertainer and being around so many adults and always traveling and being away from my family. And then on top of that, I think just normal things as a Black American person. I think a lot of our people have experienced a lot of post-traumatic stress from generational stuff that has yet to be removed that we still carry. You know what I mean? And that's definitely like when we talk about the generation curses that are in PIMP. A lot of that stuff is carried down that we don't even know that we need to remove. And so mental health and being good with myself, I think those were things that I was able to normalize because my parents broke our generational curses by moving and saying, I'm going to drive 4 days and 3 nights to California so my child can have an opportunity to know more and do more. And so I feel like it's my duty.
They sacrifice and you sacrifice. It's just, whew.
You know what I'm saying? My parents sacrificed for me to not withhold my knowledge, but to say mental health is important. You go get a physical, you need to go get a physical on your brain. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a human being is hard. We don't need to lie about it. It's scary out here. I'm anxious. Dang, are we going to be able to pay our bills? Are we ever going to be able to own anything as an American? That stuff is stuff that's going through everybody's mind, everybody's head, everybody's heart. And I think so many of us are trying to be perceived as okay. And it's like, this is not realistic. Nobody
especially in entertainment.
Yeah, especially in entertainment, you know, and in general in life. We all have such hard jobs. Like, I mean, entertainment's a hard job, but it's like, everybody is out here working and just trying to figure it out.
You're right.
And I think people sometimes don't, I feel like it will make them feel better if they realize that entertainers are going through it too. It would maybe let them know that, don't think because you ain't got millions in the bank that that's why you're not happy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why we're not happy in life, and money isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's just, I need to cut people off.
Money is a drug, Kiki.
And money don't mean nothing.
People get too attached to it. But what else do you have coming up that you can talk to us about?
So like I said, I have Star. Have Star that's coming out. I just finished.
You can't tell us anything about the production.
I can tell you guys that you're gonna find a lot more out about
excited.
Gigi. Gigi has a lot going on this season. You learn a lot more about her family and where she comes from, and just kind of how she got to become who she is. I also have Berlin Station, which is a totally different type of vibe.
That's
it's
on Fox.
Yeah, it's
Fox,
on Epix.
Okay.
Fox is Star. You're right about that one, but Epix is Berlin Station, and pretty much it's a neo-spy political kind of show. Very different than most of the stuff you guys see me do. So if you want to see something more serious, definitely check that out. It taught me a lot. They talk about a lot of political stuff, and you know there's a lot going on lately with us. So and then also I have 2 Minutes of Fame, a movie I did with Jay Farrow and Cat Williams that I believe is coming out next year. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Cat and Jay Farrow and a bunch of other comedians, a lot of young comedians, a lot of guys from, you know, that have been discovered online and everything. So they put a lot of good cats in that. And then my new music, you know, top of the year. Like I said, I'm trying to get that project out. And
you have Migos on, and Migos still on there?
So
Migos.
Quavo's on. Yeah, Migos are on one of my records. I had Quavo on my record that I did from my last project, Wind Up. I have TK Kravitz on here as well.
TK's dope.
Yeah, I love TK.
Production wise, who you work with?
Production, pretty much all Tasha Couture. Tasha's my girl. First of all, she's a dope female. And then also Alex, who we write a lot with as well. He also produced a couple tracks on it. But, you know, Tasha, she's so dope. I really love working with her, and she really believes in me. You know what I mean? She really is down for the team, and I'm down for her. So it's dope. We did a lot of stuff with Star too. You know, we did Bossy. That was me and them, and we put that on the show.
We gonna play Bossy. That's how we gonna end this interview.
Let's do it.
It's your #1 destination for Southern hip hop and R&B, Southside on Dash Radio. Kiki, I thank you so much for stopping by.
I thank you.
Listen, if you have not checked out Pimp, you are definitely missing out. Kiki did her thing, and it is totally left field, something you would not have expected from her at all. So you want to talk a little bit about it, how they can purchase it one more time, and how they can follow you.
So yes, you guys gotta check out Pimp. It's available on all digital platforms. It's definitely available on Google Play, iTunes, Comcast, Time Warner, which is Spectrum as well. Everything but not Netflix, and it won't be available on DirecTV and Dish until January 8th.
And it is super, I mean, it's worth the money. It's only like $7 on Google Play.
Yeah, it's not too much.
It's not expensive.
Same on iTunes.
So go and check it out. You guys are going to love it. But we're going to end the show with one of her songs, Bossy. One of my favorite songs. You know, I've been playing it so much, I had to stop playing it because I was playing it in here a lot. It's your #1 destination for Southern hip hop and R&B, Southside on Dash Radio. Here's KEKEPALMER, Bossy.